What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back on this Thursday already, getting closer to match day. However, we have a lot to talk about in this video today. We're going to talk about Giuntoli working his magic slash dark magic because there's news coming out. Interesting news. Talks for the summer, as you can see on the right hand side. Also, a massive update on Veiga, which wasn't certain, but now potentially we are trying to keep him. A massive update as well on Yildiz, and that's the magic part of it. But the dark magic is also the weird news surrounding Alberto Costa, or actually not really weird in isolation, but weird because we've seen Giuntoli already doing these type of deals and failing in the space of not even a year right now. So before we talk about it, as always, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about, well, a lot. Okay, let's start off with the magic part, trying to make magic happen. Because apparently, according to Gazzetta dello Sport, there was a meeting to talk about the future already, which suggests the thing I said a couple of weeks ago or days ago, that Giuntoli is not going anywhere in the summer because he's planning for the summer window. And I think that's very clear right now because there's no time to change it up again. And three names are popping up. Two we already know, Sandro Tonali and Osimhen, but one is also Comuzzo from Fiorentina, young, raw, unexperienced, upside a lot, not ready-made right now, but like I said, potential. And that goes back to the video I did 2 days ago about an Italian core and so on, building something sustainable for the long-term future already. When you add pieces right now this summer, I think the most important thing is that we add experience, but it's also very clear that the club will keep the idea of also bringing in potential. And Comuzzo is a player with potential, he has potential. Is he ready made right now? Is he a player that goes straight into starting 11? No. That's maybe the issue, at this moment in time, because if you look at our backline and so on, it needs improvement. It needs ready-made players right now. And as long as they're not coming, it's all good bringing in the potential, but we need help right now. However, talks for the future are ongoing. Like Tonali and Osimhen are main targets. Are they realistic main targets? I will say they're realistic from from the point of view of the club is taking it serious. If they knew from the get-go it's impossible, they wouldn't waste any time for it, So that's that. Now, is it realistically going to happen? I don't know. A lot of clubs will be in for Osimhen, especially Chelsea and so on. And I'm still confused why Newcastle would sell Tonali, because they are probably going to get Champions League football. And even then, the financial situation is much, much improved if you read up and stuff compared to previous seasons. And I don't know why they would sell one of their best players. And I'm not even sure Tonali wants to leave already, Newcastle already right now. However, those are main targets, but Comuzzo came in to play. Now the update on Veiga, I thought that was interesting because Mirko Di Natale, up to this point, has always said he's going back before the Club World Cup. There's no option. There's not even a possibility that things might change because Chelsea, is not really open and Juve is not really interesting. However, for the first time, Mirko Di Natale came out today, and I also on Conceição keep saying that the club wants to buy Conceição, even though Fabio De Navalle is saying that Conceição doesn't want to stay anymore. He had some problems with Motta, and now he's not playing with Tudor, which is weird because Tudor has been here for like 10 days or 14 days, and he's already complaining, and the club is not certain about his injury. But with Veiga, Mirko Di Natale for the first time is saying that, forget a bit what I've been saying all the time, that there's no option and so on. He's saying that Juve are getting ready to make a move for Veiga to open talks with Chelsea and see if Chelsea are open to sell him, because right now he has always said that Chelsea are not willing to sell, not even an option this in January. They were just a clean loan deal and they want him back in before the Club World Cup especially. Now, is that a good deal? I personally like, is he a top defender? No. Do I think he will ever become a top defender? No, as well. I do think he can be a very good defender slash something else. I'm not sure what, but something else as well, rather than just a center back in a pair in a back two, or even a center back, in a back three. Like he has something, and I'm not really sure what it is, to be honest, but he has something different. Now, I do like him as a player. I think he's a player who actually cares, about the club he represents, not this club, but just in general. He actually does care. And he's an interesting profile. Now, it depends. If Chelsea comes out and they're on 38 million euros and so on, then it's a no-go. It's a no-go, and we will probably know that. But for the right price, I would be okay with Vega, depending on what we're gonna do in the summer. Is Cambiasso gonna say? Are we gonna keep Gatti? What's gonna happen with Cabal? In which capacity will he come back? What's gonna happen with Vega? Kalulu. I will talk about it in a second. So there are a lot, there's a lot of things to discuss, and talk about. Hanchko apparently is not really a target anymore. Now Mota's gone. So it is interesting. So let me know, will you keep Vega for the right price, and what would that price be? Let me know, because I'm actually interesting to see what you guys have to say on the price, because there's no real report out there to even suggest a price and say it's going to be in that range or that range. There's actually really nothing out there, so it's going to be interesting. Now let's move on to the dark magic, or the black magic, whatever you want to call it, of the Giuntoli thing. It's Alberto Costa, because according to Calciomercato, he could go back to Portugal, not back to Vitória Guimarães, because that's difficult, not to Sporting, who wanted him, but potentially Porto or Braga, and potentially in a deal. I'm not sure what type of deal we're going to do with Braga. I'm not sure what type of deal we're going to do with Porto, if the reports are saying that Conceição is on his way back. Or maybe they're going to use Alberto Costa to lower the Conceição price, and then they're willing to keep Conceição. But then again, the news from Fabiano Della Valle, for example, is suggesting that Conceição wants to leave Juve, period, But the Alberto Costa thing, if you move him on already, it's again insane business. Alcaraz, Diallo, who is at Porto and is coming back via every report. Porto do not want to keep him. And now Alberto Costa. What was the point of signing these players when they're apparently, because if Mota doesn't use him and Tudor doesn't use him, and even close to ready to play for this club, Savona comes on again, so, and again, he plays in a back three more naturally, I guess. But again, that's one more signing to suggest that, do we really need to spend that money, invest that time? We've seen what happened with Alcaraz, with Diallo, now with Alberto Costa. Like, what is actually the point of doing these deals? I want to see more from Alberto Costa, but maybe he's not ready. Maybe he sees something in training that is not good enough. Like, I don't know, but again, that's not a one-off. It's happening multiple times right now, and it's just weird. Like, it doesn't really make any sense, So, what is the plan when you bring in these players? Like, is it just to appease the scouting department rather than actually believing in what you're doing? So this is very weird, and I don't like that, because it can happen in one-off, but it's happening like 3 times in the space of 6 months or a year. Excuse me. That's weird. That's strange, and that's not going to help your reputation as well. Atsic, for example, his national team coach is coming out and saying, like, he's good and he shouldn't be playing Serie C football. He should be playing Serie A football, even on loan. And then the reports are suggesting that he's going out on loan to a Serie B team next season. So, again, I don't think it's the best of, impression you make for potential new signings. That's what I'm going to say. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about that situation? Now, another thing, which I would kind of describe as magic, is Kalulu, because the club is extremely happy with Kalulu. They already talked with his agent, because obviously we have an option, but if Kalulu doesn't want to stay, then you're not going to use that option. But, they're working to get that deal done. It's not, done deal, but the club, they don't want to miss out on the opportunity, because all in all, I was against Kalulu's arrival. Again, he's not the best of defenders in the world or Europe. He will never be. But he actually impressed me. The bar is low, but still, when Bremer went down, he impressed me. It's not perfect, I get it, but for the fee we're paying him, and actually the injuries, knock on wood, are good. The injury he picked up this season was just bad luck. You know, he needed to make up for a mistake and he extended himself with a tackle or whatever. It's just bad luck, I guess, you know. It can happen. But other than that, I thought like against Roma, he was excellent. He was brilliant. And I don't know, for less than 20 million in total, I'm okay with that. I'm actually okay with that. But again, the investment should be to get a top defender in or a potential top defender in. You know, that should, we cannot move away from that. You know, Veiga, Kalulu, like you have Bremer, but again, how fit will he be? You have Cabal. We don't know what Cabal was before the injury because we hadn't seen much. You know, he played good games, he played bad games. You know, so we don't know in which capacity he's going to be back. Is he actually going to stay if he comes back, Cabal? We actually have no clue when it comes to that as well. We don't know what's going to happen with Cambiasso. Is Alberto Costa going to move? Is Weah going to stay with the club? You know, so many question marks. I need to see the big picture because now the news is Bremer, Kalulu is staying. We're trying to keep Veiga. We're keeping Gatti. Is that good enough of a center back partner room? Yeah, not really. No, for absolute top, no. I don't know which top defender is out there. Then it's like potential, I guess, depending on the coach and what he wants, obviously. But Kalulu is going to stay. And then the last piece of news is Yildiz. And according to La Stampa, I don't know if it's Giuntoli magic or he actually loves the club, Yildiz, because a player with his ability and the situation the club is in can easily say, I don't want to be part of this because it's not really helping my development. But according to La Stampa, Kenan Yildiz told the club that I want to be here for long-term, you know, experience basically at the club, and the club obviously wants to keep him, you know. And is it a believable story? Like a part of me wants to believe that Yildiz actually wants to be here, you know. And no, I believe Yildiz wants to be here. A part of me wants to believe that Yildiz told the club that I want to be here for a long term. That I don't believe because again, it's modern day football. He has Jorge Mendes as an agent. You know, he's on a very manageable fee right now. We know what's gonna happen naturally, and again, it's modern football. So I do want to believe it, but is it very believable? I will leave that up to you guys. You know, let me know in the comments if you believe that Yildiz told the club I want to be here for a long term future. You know, but yeah. That's it for today. Let me know about the Alberto Costa situation, especially, and which price we should potentially think about, you know, redeeming Veiga. You know, what's realistic or what's the club limit that we should be considering if Chelsea set a price. Let me know, like the video, and I will speak to you guys tomorrow. Ciao.